Probably the most anticipated paddle release is finally here. Let's see if the Carbon TruFoam Genesis paddles live up to the hype. Before we get too far, these paddles have had a tremendous amount of hype behind them prior to their release, and people think that they are going to completely change the game. There's been a ton of very high expectations, and I just wanted to clear that before we get too far. These are not going to be game-changing, however, they are very good paddles. The introduction of a fully foam core that should never really crush or corrupt, and pairing that with great performance makes these a very intriguing paddle, but not something that is so drastically different that the game has completely changed. The TruFoam paddles feature a 100% foam core with different channels cut out throughout the core, as you can see here in the X-ray provided by Braden from Pickleball Effect. With this new core, it will provide a unique feel that you have not noticed with different polypropylene cores in the past. At 14 millimeters-ish in thickness, it actually has a tremendous amount of dwell time, which allows for you to put a ton of shape on the ball. I would categorize these TruFoam paddles in the power category, a little bit lower on the power category, but they do offer plenty of power on drives and serves, as well as plenty of pop with your counters and speed ups at the Gidget line. Although these TruFoams are powerful and poppy, they will be fairly easy to dial in your drops, dinks, and resets. You will find that the TruFoams are going to be more linear in terms of their power curve, similar to what you would expect from a traditional Gen 2 thermoform paddle. Although it does have a much springier feel, if you will, with that increased dwell time, which does give you a little bit of a learning curve with these more control-oriented shots. It is pretty easy to learn and dial in. Much easier than paddles like the Mod or the Gearbox Power Pro Elongated, which give you those exponential power curves and do have a very unpredictable feel at times. Although these paddles are 14 millimeters in thickness, you will find them to play similar to a 16 millimeter paddle. Because of their 100% foam core, you will notice a difference in vibration frequency, which some may find great. However, there may be a small amount of people that do not like it at first. However, after a few games, you get used to it very quickly. Although I've said a ton of great things about these paddles, there are a couple things that I don't like. The first being the handles are not the best. They're more square or rectangular in shape and have less pronounced bevels than some of the premium feeling handles on the market. Now, I wouldn't say that they're terrible, they're just not really as comfortable and as high quality as something else on the market. The second thing that I didn't love about these paddles is the shapes and handle lengths. I primarily played with the Genesis 2 shape, which in my opinion is by far the best shape that they offer, which comes in listed at 16 by 7.85 inches. However, it's a little bit shorter than that and has a 5.25 inch handle. Now, the reason why I say this has quite a bit of shortcomings is because they're leaving quite a bit of room for the full allowed dimensions. Adding full width to this paddle would make it more stable and forgiving, which would only improve its performance. In addition to this, a short handle at 5.25 inches is really not ideal or even up to date to today's handle length standards. A 5.5 inch handle would be much better in my personal opinion and make this paddle much more comfortable for most users. The Genesis 1 shape is 16.5 by 7.35 inches in width. The width is really lacking here in my personal opinion. Having a full 7.5 inches of width would expand the sweet spot of this paddle, which by design, elongated shape paddles do have narrower sweet spots. So with this measurements of the width of this paddle, it becomes even more narrow. However, with the 1 shape, you do have that full 5.5 inch handle, which is much more ideal. And finally, the Genesis 3 does use the full allowable dimensions at 16.5 by 7.5 inches. However, it does have that shorter 5.25 inch handle, which I, like most people, feel like is too short for two-handed backhands. Although all of these paddles do have some shortcomings in their shapes and design, I do think a lot of people will get over that because they do have exceptional performance otherwise. With an exceptional balance of power and control, paired with elite spin and great sweet spots, I do think these TruFoams are some of the best paddles available on the market. Coming in at $280 or $252 after code pursuit, I do think that these are fairly expensive paddles. However, they do have a 100% foam core that in theory should not have any core issues, which is a huge step up in durability from everyone else's traditional polypropylene core. Pairing that core durability with exceptional performance does justify the price on these Carbon TruFoam paddles in my personal opinion. If you'd like to enter for a chance to win my unused Carbon TruFoam Genesis 3, all that you have to do is like and comment on this video, subscribe to Pickleball Pursuit, and fill out the Google form listed in the description below. The winner will be selected 7 days after this video has been uploaded. I do think that foam cores will definitely be the future, and Carbon has definitely paved the way for this. I hope you enjoyed this review. Until the next one, I'm Lewis with Pickleball Pursuit, and I'll see you guys soon.